Yeah, I platinum ASTRO Bot.
Yeah,
So
after you got to the hard one stage.
honestly, that one stage it probably took me longer. The square button stage that I kept getting stuck on.
Yeah,
And
that
our friend Kyle got stuck on it too. it's
right.
um, it's funny because like I mean that master stage didn't take me as long as the that square stage did for me for some reason.
That
But
master
yeah,
stage is hard, but yeah,
yeah,
I found it a lot easier.
yeah. I really enjoyed the master stage. It does feel like okay, this is the end stage, and you do have to do some pretty good platforming to get through it. That ending is awesome too, especially if you're a big PlayStation. I mean, I would imagine most people are playing this because you have some kind of attachment to PlayStation. But if you picked it up just because it's a platformer or you wanted to play with your kids, I think maybe that last part doesn't resonate as much with you, like what that means. But I
Right.
think it's a great like culmination to the entire thing, and it kind of plays back to Playroom because Playroom was all about the systems because it was introducing the PS5, whereas this is all about the games
Yeah.
that made PlayStation. So it's a nice like bow to tie all that on, and I'm sure that they've already said there's going to be more, but I wonder how much more. I mean, I'm sure that they can farm out DLC levels and extra bots for a while, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opinion that they could go back to the way it was before, like with the PSVR game where they didn't have all the Sony stuff, and it'd be fine. It would be a great game in its own right. I doesn't need the Sony stuff. Um, I
Uh,
don't.
I
Yeah,
I
go
kind of
ahead.
disagree because like without the Sony stuff, what is there?
It's still a great platform. I don't think the world ends if it doesn't have the Sony stuff. I think the Sony stuff is great, and it's going to be what will get people to buy the game. I think that wouldn't buy it otherwise.
That's where my
But
problem though, where the game doesn't have a story other than like the Sony stuff, and it's like, well, I mean, you're making the case that like a platform doesn't need a story, but it's like, yeah, but it's not 1989 anymore either. Like, Croc had a story, or Crash Bandicoot had a story. Like, it's not.
okay, but did Mario Odyssey really have a story? Like it's the
Yeah.
typical same thing with Mario every time. That he's like, oh, he's going to save the princess, just in a more
Okay, but
grandiose way.
if you remove that stuff, it's like, what is
Yeah.
there then? Because then there's like no
But
no
Astrobot does the
motivation.
same thing. He's saving the world of Astro, and he's going and saving the PlayStation bots, which they don't even make a. It's not like they reference them directly, right? It's not like they go, "Oh, this is
Right.
the one from Ratchet and Clank," and whatever. They kind of make allusions to them.
Yeah.
Um, so um, I still think that if they wanted to, and even Nicholas Doucette says it. He says if he feels like they're being too much of a, you know, Sony. They did pitch the game as a PlayStation Fiesta. This game was pitched as a 30th anniversary title to celebrate 30th anniversary, all that stuff. But when you're not coming out in an anniversary year, I don't necessarily think that they have to do that. Like they could add it as DLC later, whatever. But they could Astro could be his own thing, and maybe they add more story now that more people know about Astro. He's not this guy that's coming from the. He's not this little figure that's coming from the VR game into this now. People have played his game, and they could add more story to Astro for next time. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just there's been a lot of discourse about okay, he's the Sony mascot, but now it's like gone too far the other way, and they're being like propaganda to Sony, and it's like, I mean, does this game get made if it doesn't have the Sony stuff? That's the problem. Like they have to have a hook to get people that don't care about platformers when you have shaped the people that are playing PlayStation now to not care about those games.
Right.
So eh, you got to have some kind of tie to it. I think that's fine for now, but I hope that they can move away from that too if they need to. But still a great game. Uh, for some reason, if you haven't bought it yet, uh, please go do, especially like platformers.